Welcome to Neighborful Station, Episode 40, Saturday, February 28th, 2026. On the last Saturday in February, you walk into the natatorium at Lucretia Mott College to go winter swimming. The Cavern Pool is open every Saturday all winter to the entire town for free. The humid smell of chlorine greets you immediately as you open the fogged-over glass doors, leaving behind the watchful owls on the ridge above you. The work-study kid at the front desk smiles at you as your eyes adjust to the bright lights inside. You feel the nubby fabric of your beach towel slung over your shoulder as you pause in the entrance area for a gathering breath. When you enter the pool from the locker room, your eyes widen at the sight before you. On the near side, the cavern pool looks like every other swimming pool you've ever seen. It has rectangular walls, lane markers, and depth numbers on tiles embedded in the concrete deck. But the far side of the pool opens into a huge irregular space beneath the curved and rocky natural roof of the cavern. The water stretches out into the distance, lit from within, and there is a single rope line marking the edge of where people can safely swim. Beyond that line, a large undersea robot floats on the surface of the water, its yellow skin shining in the lights. "Oh hey, you!" someone says from behind you, and you turn to see Joshua and Carrie just out of the locker room themselves. Joshua says, "Glad you could make it. Ready to swim?" You say, "Yes. I haven't been able to take many walks this winter. I'm ready to move." Joshua asks you, "Laps or fun?" Carrie tells him, "Joshua, laps are fun. Not all of us brought a unicorn float to the pool." You tell them both, "Laps, I think, at least to start." Joshua thrusts his chin in the air and says, "Well, my unistallion awaits me out in the deep. Enjoy your fun laps." He tosses his towel on a lounge chair and jumps into the pool with a running start, earning himself a stern whistle from the lifeguard. You and Carrie walk over to the ladder on the edge of the pool, and you lower yourself into the comfortably warm water. You pull your goggles down over your eyes and worm your way under a couple of lane markers until you find open space. Slowly, deliberately, you start swimming freestyle toward the other end of the pool. You feel the resistance of the water against your body as the muscles in your arms and legs find their rhythm. When you complete your first full lap, you pull up against the wall, the texture of the concrete edge rough and pebbly beneath your fingers. You watch the kids in the next lane propel themselves through the water on their kickboards, and you take a deep breath. Time passes like this for a while, as you travel in no particular rush back and forth down the length of the pool, immersing yourself in the experience. You log a few laps of backstroke, looking up at the bright humming lights fixed to the cavern roof, and beyond them, the jagged surface of the limestone, eroded by this water over thousands of years. When you reach the end of yet another lap, Carrie is there waiting for you. She asks, "Are you hungry by any chance? There's a buffet upstairs." You say, "Yes. Now that you mention it, I do believe I've worked up a hunger." The two of you find your towels and sandals, and Carrie wraps her hair in a second towel as you walk through a side door and climb the staircase within. You emerge in a large conference room overlooking the pool, filled mostly with parents in street clothes who are hanging out while their kids swim. Along the wall farthest from the windows is a huge spread of breakfast for dinner, with chafing dishes of pancakes, waffles, eggs, and potatoes. There is a toast and bagel station and huge bowls of fresh cut fruit. Carrie motions over toward the buffet and tells you the owner of the Flapjack Foundry was a varsity swimmer in college. She puts this on for free. Every weekend there's winter swimming. You say, "That's so generous." As Carrie fills a plate, she replies, "And delicious." The two of you sit down at an open round table, and you take in your colorful plate of eggs, potatoes, and fruit set before you. You admire your wrinkly fingers before letting them rest in your lap for a moment. You close your eyes, feeling gratitude for this meal and this community as you take an easy breath. With your eyes still closed, you hear someone say, "Mind if we join you?" Carrie says, "Of course," and you open your eyes to see Larry and Daryl sitting down. Both of them have wild hair from toweling off after their swim. Daryl says, "Hello again, you. How was your pool time?" You tell him, "It was pretty great. How about yours?" He shakes his head vigorously, pressing his towel to his ear as he says, "It was lovely. I'm just a little waterlogged now." You smile in sympathy at him as you spear a fresh strawberry on your plate and lift it to your mouth. When you take a bite, you discover it is bracingly cold, slightly tart, and just on the perfect edge between firm and soft. You sigh happily and immediately look down at your plate for another one. Larry asks Carrie, "Are you working the open house next weekend?" She brightens as she says, "I am," and then snaps her fingers as she points at you. "The Model Railroad Club," she says. "You need to come visit. Our open house is next weekend. Will you come?" You say, "Yes, for sure. I love trains." Carrie and Larry say in unison, "Cool." And then Larry says, "Pickle Jinx." Daryl looks up from his plate and says, "Is that still a thing?" Larry looks at his brother with mirthful eyes and says, "You and I just had a splash fight in the pool where we first learned how to swim. Pickle Jinx is definitely still a thing." It is a gift to share this gathering place with you. Thank you for coming home to our town. Visit us today at neighborfulstation.us, where we invite you to join us as an official town resident.
Hello, this is John calling from Illinois. My neighbor story takes us back about 18 years to a time when my daughter was a newborn and my wife was changing her, and one of those unfortunate and terrible accidents, my daughter fell off the changing table, hit her head on the wood floor, and lost consciousness. It was a moment of extreme terror for my wife, you can surely imagine. My wife rushed her to the hospital in a panic, and As the doctors took my daughter back to examine her, it turned out that our next door neighbor, Mary Ann, was the charge nurse on duty at the hospital at that time. She basically found somebody else to cover her post and sat with my wife throughout the entire time that my daughter was examined and until I could get there from work. So Mary Ann really did us a solid that day. Thanks, neighbor. The good news, by the way, is that our daughter was fine. She's now, a young adult at college and everything is going great. No harm, no foul. But for a couple of hours there, the benefit of our neighbor Mary Ann was truly something to be grateful for. Thanks.